Thank you, choir. What a beautiful message in the music, and what a wonderful reminder of what it might have looked like for the shepherds as they gathered with their flocks and heard that angelic choir. This is part of the beauty and part of the joy of Christmas, part of the wonder of this season when we look ahead to the birth of that Christ child. We look ahead with anticipation of God with us. There's incredible theological significance at Christmas. It's easy to miss it because of all the beauty around us, the decorations, the wonderful music. But the significance is we can't have Easter without Christmas. Whether we have the angelic choirs of Luke or the Magi of Matthew, whether we have the stable of Luke or we have Joseph getting an angel in his dream in Matthew, or whether we have the angel speaking to Mary in Luke, whatever happened, we have Jesus with us, God incarnate. Recently I was speaking with someone and we were talking about the news of the world. Yes, I didn't mean to bring us all down immediately after, "O come all ye faithful." But even as we talked about all the current events, I couldn't help but think about the joy of this season, those Advent candles that we light, the hope, the love that we see, and even next week, the peace. These themes kept running through my mind even as we visited all of the bleak current events. That's because God is with us. God is here, and no matter what happens in our lives or in our world, God is present, not only in this place, but in our city and in our country and in our world. Many, many years ago, my family moved from Detroit to Roanoke, Virginia. And we made an annual pilgrimage every year. We didn't go through the woods. There was no hills. But there were in West Virginia, but once we got into Ohio, it was pretty much flat country on up to Michigan. But every Christmas, we went up to the Detroit area where we used to live and where both of my sets of grandparents still resided. And we would go to Clawson, the suburb where we lived, to visit my paternal grandparents, where everyone gathered. And my maternal grandmother would go with us. And we had a great time every Christmas Eve. A wonderful celebration. But we would go back down into the city of Detroit. And for any of you who remember the news of Detroit in the 80s, that wasn't a vacation destination. But we would go down into Detroit, where my grandmother had lived since the 1930s, and we would stay with her. That's where we stayed. One Christmas Eve, we came back and something wasn't right. Every light in our house was on. We hadn't left it that way. The front door was wide open. We hadn't left it that way. As a child, it was incredibly scary. The burglars were long gone, but they had opened all of the Christmas presents that Santa was bringing. They had taken any of the good ones. They left the socks. This was during the crack epidemic, when people were going to horrible ends to try to just get that next fix. And as a child, I didn't understand any of that. All I knew was the fear, the sense of violation, of someone having come into my grandmother's house. You know what? They may have taken the presents that year, but they didn't take the joy. They didn't take the good news. They didn't take the love that our family shared for one another. They didn't take the hope that springs eternal, the hope that continues. Everything was okay. We were safe. No one was there. No one got hurt when the burglars came. The message of the gospel of Jesus Christ is that in the end, it is going to be okay. No matter what happens, no matter what we face today, no matter what the newspapers, or now the internet, but wherever you get your news, no matter what it says, God is in control and everything will be okay. No matter what tragedies you encounter in this life, God is still God, and we do have Easter because we have Christmas. This is the good news of Jesus Christ, and we are all invited to participate in it. That's the purpose of our songs. That's the purpose of our readings, to share this message of good news. It came upon a midnight clear. Our hymn of response this morning is number 93, and we can all respond wherever we are. If you're here this morning and you would like to make this church your church, Will or I will be down at the front. Will and I will be down at the front to receive you and to welcome you into this family of God. Let us sing together.